What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in today's video I wanted to give you some recommendations on amazing weapons to roll into the Grandmasters with on Tuesday. I will start with my exotic recommendations and then move into a few really strong legendaries. So first up, if there is Overload in the Nightfall, then the best Overload weapon in my opinion is Osteostriga. This weapon is insanely strong in every aspect of the game, and it goes even harder with Necrotic Grip Warlock. It can easily handle overloads thanks to its damage over time poison effect, allowing you to keep a champion stunned while staying behind cover, where normally you have to do continuous damage to an overload to keep it stunned. I 10 out of 10 recommend. It is also kinetic, and they deal the most damage of the 3 element types in the kinetic slot. If you want more info as to why that is, I made a video here. Speaking of super powerful kinetics, the next top option is Wishender. This has intrinsic anti-barrier, and it can one-shot pretty much every red bar in the game, even on Grandmaster difficulty. It over-penetrates targets, allowing you to build super energy very quickly, and it can one-shot barrier shields. I honestly cannot say enough good things about Wishender. It is a top-notch exotic. The next weapon is a personal favorite of mine, Witherhoard. This weapon goes hard in the paint, and being a kinetic special weapon, it is now doing 15% more damage since Lightfall. The damage over time is great for ticking down bosses, especially in the Glassway GM. It can't stun champions, but with so many different ways to stun them now, that is not really a problem. The next two I am going to pair together. Depending on your team composition, this combo can allow you to absolutely melt champs. One person runs Divinity, which can intrinsically stun overload champs, and the other two run Izanagi's Burden. You'll be able to hit easy crits and chunk most of the champs down instantly. And you can run Special Finisher if you want to finish a champ and keep your special ammo always stocked up. Another great kinetic option is actually Outbreak Perfected. The seasonal artifact has anti-barrier pulse rifle, and if for some reason you ever get low on ammo, this weapon can ramp up damage by sustaining damage on a target. It's not a bad option to run if there are barrier champions. Egger's Scepter has always been a strong exotic, and now it is capable of stunning both overloads and unstoppables. It's definitely a solid pick, especially in the Lake of Shadows where there are a ton of teleporting taken enemies. It will just freeze them in place. It's tough to make one of these lists and not include the king of barrier stuns, Arbalest. Despite being nerfed, this weapon still goes very hard. I will also give an honorable mention pick to Forerunner because anti-barrier sidearm is on the artifact, and this gun is actually decent for breaking shields and has pretty good ammo economy. Quicksilver Storm finally got its 40% damage buff to red bars back, so it is a great option. Much like Outbreak Perfected, it is a solid option in the kinetic slot, even though it is strand once you get the catalyst, but it can deal some really big damage in a similar way to Outbreak, but it just does it a little differently. Overload Auto is on the artifact this season, so it is great for that due to its large magazine, but it can also hit really hard when swapped to the grenade launcher mode. This alternate fire mode is really good for chunking down tanky red bars like Gladiators and Wyverns. Finally, if you want a good strand option, the new sidearm can actually hit very hard and can take advantage of anti-barrier sidearm, but it does require you to play at close range. Moving on to the energy slot, the king here is undoubtedly Le Monarch. It has overload built into it, but that only procs from the poison on a perfect draw. But this season we have Overload Bow, which can make this gun much more consistent for getting stuns on overloads. If it is a Void Burn GM, then this bow will one-shot most adds. And with Volatile Flow on the artifact, it will be even stronger this season. I do want to give a shout out to Thunderlord, as I have been very impressed with it in my limited time using it. Machine guns are in a great place right now, and this one has built-in overload rounds and can chew through overloads with ease when it is spun up. The only thing is, Arc Surge isn't really around this season, but if any GMs have machine guns as the overcharge weapon, then I would definitely consider it. And now we have saved the best for last, the Heavy Bow Leviathan's Breath. This thing has been getting buff after buff the last few seasons, and with this season, it got a huge buff to champion damage. It has Unstoppable built into it, and it has great total damage output and ammo economy, picking up like 5 arrows per brick. It is a wonderful weapon, and if Void Burn is on, it gets that much better. One thing I should mention is that the ammo inventory goes up with the catalyst, and it gets an enhanced version of Archer's Tempo as well. So get out there and get the catalyst done if you haven't already. This season, it even got a buff to champion damage by a whopping 30%, and it was already really strong. It can also stunlock certain bosses. I truly don't have enough good things to say about this powerhouse of a bow. Definitely give this one a try if you haven't used it yet. And now for some legendary recommendations. In the kinetic slot, if you have Unstoppable Scout, I strongly advise using Nameless Midnight with Kinetic Tremors. I believe Hung Jury rolls with it as well. It is free damage just for shooting a target. Next, I recommend another weapon with Kinetic Tremors, and that is the Battlescar Pulse Rifle. The Tremors, if activated, can actually break a barrier's shield. This is my new favorite weapon perk, and it is best in slot for kinetic primary weapons. It is a very strong perk for high-end PvE. In the energy slot, I really can't recommend glaives enough. It doesn't really matter which glaive. Whatever is best for the situation given enemy shield types or whatever. I know you don't have to match a shield as much thanks to the removal of match game, but to get shatter orbs to work, you do. But really, what makes glaives so great is the damage reduction. In high-end PvE, they can keep you alive better than pretty much anything else. Speaking of great utility weapons, both a Chill Clip Riptide and a Chill Clip Lingering Dread can stun overloads with the slow effect. And they can both stun unstoppables if you shoot it enough with your Chill Clip rounds, allowing them to be stunned by shattering the stasis crystals. Iterative Loop is an arc fusion rifle that can roll with Volt Shot, which applies jolt to a target, and the jolt can stun overloads. Jolting enemies gives great utility for ad clear. And now for my final recommendation in the heavy slot, machine guns. They are very strong right now as they hold a ton of ammo and allow you to ad clear like crazy with them. So depending on the rest of your build, a good machine gun will be great. If it is more burst DPS that you are looking for, then I really like to run rockets. Red Herring has been my go-to lately because there has been a lot of void burns. Fixed Odds and Commemoration are great machine guns that are solar and void, which are the predominant surges this season outside of Strand. But that is pretty much going to do it for the video. I hope it was informative and reminded you of some weapons to get leveled up before GMs drop. If you made it this far, then thanks so much for watching. Feel free to like the video if you enjoyed it. Happy Grandmaster farming and take care.